Thank you for joining us. I'm Marnie Hughes, and this is Missing on NewsNation. Each week, we feature a missing person case from across the country, and we take you inside the investigation and the search for answers. And you are a very big part of what we do each week. Many of the cases that we cover come from you, and by watching and sharing these stories, you offer families and friends of the missing hope that their loved one's case gets solved. I want to head to Lincoln, Nebraska for this week's case, and I want to introduce you to the man that we're looking for. This is Tyler Goodrich. He is 35 years old, and he was last seen in November of 2023. Tyler's case has captured the attention of thousands of people in the community of Lincoln and also online. And in a moment, you're going to hear from one of his friends and also a private investigator on the case. First, though, let's take a closer look at Tyler's story.
I would honestly say that I miss his laugh the most. It's just brought the joy with it.
November 3rd started out as a normal day. Tyler Goodrich went to work at his job at the Nebraska Department of Corrections and stopped at Costco at the end of the day to pick up a pizza for a family movie night with his husband, Marshall, and one of their 2 children. But shortly after he got home, he and Marshall got into a heated argument. Tyler
and I were at a difficult spot in our marriage. We talked about our marriage it might not be forever. It was enough for us to give our kids an amazing home. And that to both of us meant the world. Either way, we knew that we were always going to be in each other's lives.
They were planning on getting divorced. And I think that is what probably escalated this argument to a whole nother level that night.
Marshall told the private investigator that he called 911 after Tyler pushed him. Marshall said Tyler then ran upstairs and out of the house. Tyler's cell phone going silent shortly after he left. This grainy security camera video from outside Tyler's house shows a man running in front of the home. But is this Tyler?
We have this really, really grainy blink camera video of somebody leaving the house. I've seen it personally. I thought it was Tyler, but other people don't think it is, and it is really hard to tell.
At first, friends and family believed that Tyler may have gone on a run to cool off. He was training for a race that weekend.
I talked to him every single day. I saw him every day at work. When that weekend happened, once it was over, I got up the next day thinking I was going to see Tyler walk in my office, or hoping I would, and it didn't happen. So it's just, it's been difficult.
In the early days of the investigation, police urged Tyler to come back, hoping he had just run off after the argument.
On Tyler Goodrich, we want everybody to know he is not in any trouble criminally whatsoever for anything that has transpired. So if he is hiding and thinking he's in trouble, he can come out and not be. He's also still has his job. So we just want to make that clear.
Private investigators continue to conduct searches over the area. A canine search about 3 weeks after Tyler disappeared revealed a path that Tyler may have taken after leaving the house. A path taking him along a wooded area, ending along a road. But as days turned into weeks and now months, family, friends, and investigators fear something more sinister may have happened.
Tyler went on that run. He gets back on the highway, is headed back towards the house to kind of fix things, and either A, a drunk driver, or B, somebody who shouldn't have been on the road, didn't see him, hit him, gravely wounded him, and then panicked and took him and left the area.
Tyler just disappeared. There's no bank account activity, no cell phone activity. We want somebody to come forward, speak up, be honest. Something has happened, and we want closure for the family. That's what's important right now.
Tyler's case has sparked interest of more than 23,000 people in the community and online. His friends say he gathered people from all different walks of life, from work, his running group, the military, the LGBT community, and of course, his lifelong friends. So many friendships collected over the decades, now coming together to welcome Tyler home.
We both were even little homecoming king and queen, kind of like, like the little crown bearers that go and, give that to the king and queen of the high school.
I just want him to come back.
It is a very peculiar case and remains a mystery. What happened to Tyler Goodrich that night? Joining us now is a good friend of Tyler's, Rachel Barth. Rachel, thank you. I know that you and Tyler's friends and family have been through a lot these last few months. I appreciate your time and your voice on this to share his story. I think for a moment, let's take people back to how you and Tyler first met. I mean, you guys have a lot of years between your friendship.
Yeah, so Tyler and I have been friends since we were 4 or 5 years old. We grew up in the small town of Bennett, Nebraska. Tyler and I have been in the same kindergarten class all the way throughout high school, graduated with like 32 kids. So it's a pretty small community. Our parents coached T-ball together. We were in 4-H together. Tyler and I were, I think there was a picture of us in homecoming together, crowning the king and queen. But we've been friends my entire life. And there's not very many people you can say you've been friends with for 30, 31 years. And Tyler's one of those people that we're still friends to this day.
Yeah, which makes this sting all the more, I know, for you and for so many others. Tell me about your friend. What he's like, his personality, what were his interests?
Yeah, so Tyler is definitely an animal lover, had dogs. Him and his husband had miniature horses. They had goats. Tyler, was super, super outgoing. He played volleyball, loved to run. That was a therapy for him. He's super competitive. And so started getting really into like running races and marathons and always wanted to PR. Really in the last, I would say 8-9 years, wanted to be even healthier. So, he gave up drinking, gave up everything and just really focused on his health. He always wanted to have a family. And so him and his husband had decided to foster, and they fostered, their kids and ended up adopting both of them, which I think is, anybody that I think can handle the foster care system. And intentionally, they fostered, boys that were older because they know that those kids struggle to be fostered, and they had a loving home for them. Tyler loved snacks, loved chocolate, loved licorice. He just loved to have a good time. He made friends with everybody. He loved his family fiercely, talked to, his parents consistently, has, sisters and a brother, and still had ties back to Bennett, which is our small town outside of Lincoln. Tyler was in the military, so had a great military background, so very disciplined. And I didn't know his coworkers well, but I've definitely got to know them over the last few months, and they loved him at work. Tyler was well loved by everybody. And so this has just been incredibly hard, as you can imagine.
Yeah, well, he sounds like just a joyful person who had a very big heart. What does being a dad mean to Tyler, to have those boys in his life?
Yeah, so Tyler has multiple siblings and they all have kids, and they always just said how great of an uncle Tyler was. And actually, it's kind of interesting. When we were in high school, Tyler and I would sometimes babysit for the same families. And so not a lot of guys like to babysit, but Tyler was one of those that kids just loved. And so I kind of knew even at an early age that he was going to make a great dad someday. And I remember him and Marshall being at my house and talking to me about that they were going to, try to start fostering. They were going through that process, and, what it meant to not only foster, but hopefully one day have a family of their own, being a gay couple, what that meant, maybe some of the uphill battles that they would struggle with that, but they continued on. And I think that's just a testament to the kind of person Tyler was. But every time I seen him with the kids and, and whatnot, and with his nieces and nephews and even my kids. Tyler he loved kids and was great with them.
Yeah, I know those boys miss him. So you mentioned Marshall. We have also spoken with Marshall. How close are you with him, and what more is he saying about the ongoing search? And they've been open about some struggles in their own relationship leading up to this.
Sure. So I don't know Marshall probably as well as I know Tyler, but Marshall and I've obviously had communication over the last few years being friends. He's been out to my home, and we've talked a couple times, lately, just since the disappearance. Most of our conversations are just around like, hey, how are the boys? More conversation like that. He knows that we have the Facebook page. He knows that we're still actively doing searches. And so we try to keep him apprised of the things that we're doing. But I also know that, he's trying to manage and take care of his kids as well. So I can't imagine. It's been incredibly hard on the family and everybody. So yeah, it's just been hard.
Yeah.
There's no sugarcoating it.
No, not for anybody. And you have been a voice for the searches, for leading this group. Has anything come to light since November that leads you in one direction or another, theorizing what may have happened to your friend?
Yeah, I think my theory changes probably every day. Initially, you're right. We thought that maybe Tyler had gone on a run, and when we saw the footage, that's what he's doing. If that is him, I wish we had concrete evidence that it was, just so we know 100%. But he was running, and Tyler ran marathons. He was in the military. He could easily run 30 miles. That wasn't a big deal for Tyler. However, we have extensively searched the area that was mentioned on the video earlier of maybe that path he took, and it's rough. I mean, it is rough. There's a lot of trees, uneven ground. If his phone went off at the time we think it did, then he wasn't running with any sort of light. So it's hard to think about what could have happened. I know there's a theory maybe somebody hit him, maybe he tried coming back home and somebody picked him up. Somebody asked me, do you think Tyler could have hurt himself? And my immediate answer was no, absolutely not. I know it's a possibility, sure, but there's no indication that he did. This wasn't a planned run either. Obviously, we know that they had gotten in an argument and Tyler decided to leave the house. But there's nothing indicating that he was intending to do anything or just run away. And I think Angie, his sister, mentioned on the video that his cell phone hasn't been turned back on, no social media activity, which he was active on. Obviously hasn't shown up for work, didn't go to the race that weekend that he was going to be running in. No credit card activity. I mean, he literally has disappeared off the face of this earth. And, it's hard to not go to a dark place and know that maybe Tyler's no longer with us. But I think the reality is we know that Tyler wouldn't intentionally stay away from his kids. He wouldn't intentionally stay away from his mom and dad and his family. He loves them. He loves his coworkers, loves his friends fiercely, loves his dogs. If you're a dog lover like most of us, you can't stay away from your dogs, and Tyler wouldn't do that either, wouldn't stay away from his kids. So I think it's hard to not think that something very bad happened to him, and now it's trying to figure out what that is. But there's not been a lot of anything come to light. There was a letter that was sent in, so we were maybe hoping somebody anonymously was, trying to tip off authorities, but that letter ended up maybe not really, giving us any more information that we already knew. So we have nothing, absolutely nothing.
Well, he has a voice through you and so many others, and thank you for sharing that with us. I appreciate your time. Rachel Barth, we'll be in touch. Thank you again. I want to bring in Eric Rezebek now. He's a private investigator, and you have been looking into Tyler's disappearance as well. I want to focus with you for a moment on the timeline of that night when the fight happened, the 911 call, and then Tyler goes out on an apparent run. Walk us through what you know so far.
So what we have for a timeline is, so it was Friday, November 3rd, 5:35. We have a video of Tyler at Costco. I've seen just a still of that. Seems like he's in great spirits, got 2 pizzas in his hand, and he's talking on the phone. And then at 7:25, we have another message that he sent, I believe it was via Facebook, to his coworker, talking about, and he was actually joking about a speaking engagement he had the next morning. which to me plays into the fact that Tyler was planning on being there the next morning. Tyler was in good spirits. From everything I've seen from texts to those messages, Tyler was in a great mood that night. At 7:35, we have the argument with Marshall. Approximately 7:40, I'm not 100% on this, but that's when Marshall made that call to 911. 7:41, Tyler calls a friend on his phone. 7:42, that's when you see Tyler running out on that video. 7:45 was the last ping from Tyler's phone. Because that 911 call had been made, LSO did arrive at the house at approximately 8 p.m. And they left at 8:20 p.m. And then the next morning, around 7:30, Marshall had went to stay at his mom's house that night, is how he reported it. But that's when Marshall returned to the house and Tyler wasn't there. It sounds like there was some phone calls made from Marshall to different friends, hoping to kind of figure out where Tyler was, hoping that he was with them. But of course, that didn't pan out. And then at 9:35, Marshall calls 911 to report Marshall officially missing. And then at 10:45 a.m. that morning, the family was actually notified.
Yeah. So it's a very specific timeline. Police at one point, you heard in our story a moment ago, said, Tyler, if you're out there, your family loves you, come back, you're not in any trouble, your job's waiting for you. So it leads you to believe that they think he went away on his own. Is that a theory that you've been able to rule out?
Yeah, absolutely. I know that the theory kind of came about. So Tyler did work in corrections. And kind of what I've been told is anytime they had any contacts with law enforcement, they had to report it to their boss. So there's a chance, after Marshall made that initial call that, Tyler panicked and, if that is Tyler in that video, ran out the back door. But as far as like where we're at now, absolutely not. I don't think Tyler didn't disappear on his own.
Somebody knows something somewhere, and I hope that through these interviews, we get more information and some key pieces of evidence to help this family. Eric Rezabek, thank you, private investigator looking into this. We'll stay in touch, sir, and as you learn more, we'd love if you'd share with us so we can partner with you. And also, I'd like to thank Rachel Barth for her time in the search for Tyler. Thank you, sir. There are tens of thousands of people who are following Tyler's case online closely, and I know many of you now are following as well. There's a Facebook page for Tyler. It has more than 24,000 members. And I want to highlight just some of the images of Tyler and for people who are following this case. Jackie Donovan says that she's praying for answers for this amazing, strong family and friends. Another person online asked about putting Tyler's picture on the back of trucks. And I thought this was interesting. Dawn Engelbert, who is a mother that we've talked to before, her son Chance is a missing person. She responded on Tyler's page and said her family has actually put signs on trucks looking for her son Chance, adding that they come in many sizes, adding that there's so many emotions when you see a sign and you're going down the road. So we thank her for that comment. Rita Kazaneth also asked if anyone had trail cams up. As a hunter, she said, I keep cameras up to have an idea of what is in my woods. It's a really good question, Rita. There are some Ring cameras in the neighborhood, we know, and we've got that grainy video, but so far that hasn't led really anywhere with the investigation. But thanks to each of you for your comments. I want to give you another live look at Tyler's picture. This again is Tyler Goodrich. If you have any information that can help police and his family and friends in their investigation, you can contact authorities in Lincoln, Nebraska, 402-441-6000, or the Lancaster County Sheriff's Office at 402-441-6500. I want to talk for a moment here about our next case, our next missing case next week. It is the disappearance of a young woman named Jessica Van Sant Dietzel, and she has been missing now for 4 years, and her mother is certainly not giving up hope. Jessica was 21 years old when she vanished on February 18th, 2020. She was last seen near a motel in Albany, Georgia. A person of interest was named in this case, but so far there have been no arrests and no sign of Jessica. Her mom says one of Jessica's notebooks was found in a parking lot about 6 months after she disappeared. So I encourage you to tune in next week for the latest on the investigation into Jessica's case and the mystery surrounding her disappearance. Jessica Van Sant Dietzel. Again, that case is next week. If you have a missing person case you think that we should be looking into, send it to us at newsnationnow.com/missing. We partner with you, and you're a big part of why we do what we do every week. Thank you, as always, for watching and sharing each of our missing stories. Every missing person matters. I'm Marnie Hughes in Chicago. I'll see you next week for our next missing case.